Have you ever experienced the elephant in the room? You are visiting a property in Portugal, but when you ask about insulation, questions about humidity, wall types, construction standards, all met with an awkward silence and your gut feeling telling you that something is off. I'm Mar, your Portuguese interior designer, and this is part 1 of turning you into the most informed and empowered house hunter in Portugal. Now, whether you are buying, renting, or building off-grid, if you wait until you are inside to start looking for problems, it's already too late. That's why a true inspection starts even before you arrive. So put your sporty shoes on and let's get started. Orientation isn't just about sunlight or pretty views. It matters to you because it affects how your home handles heat, cold, humidity, airflow, and it impacts both your daily life and your wallet. In Portugal, south-facing properties receive the most sunlight year-round. They are ideal in cooler northern regions such as Trás-os-Montes or Minho, but in Lisbon, Alentejo or the Algarve, you can experience overheating. South is generally the best orientation for leisure spaces such as living rooms, dining rooms, home offices, and to install solar panels or off-grid systems. Pools and outdoor spaces in colder regions do benefit from this position, but in the southern regions they always require natural shade or covered terraces. Either in a house or apartment in south-facing facades, you want to check for the existence of pergolas, awnings, exterior shutters, or the proximity to the city streets. In facades facing east, you'll get gentle morning sunlight and shade during the afternoon hours. That is why this is one of the most desirable orientations both in winter and in summer. It's ideal for bedrooms, breakfast areas, morning sun and afternoon shade. You will want to make sure there are windows placed on opposite sides of the building to allow cross ventilation and natural or built-in shade to prevent excess heat during summer mornings. Mostly in Alentejo and the Algarve, east-facing facades are exposed to winds from North Africa, which can bring heat and dust, especially during summer. In these regions, check for the proximity to open terrains or wind corridors that can allow these dry, hot winds in. North-facing facades receive minimal direct sunlight, resulting in cooler interiors and increased risk of mold. They are prone to material degradation due to exposure to cold winds and air humidity, particularly in coastal and northern regions and in poorly insulated constructions. You will want to check specifically if the openings are small, not to aggravate heat loss, if there are natural window barriers like walls or dense vegetation, and for the presence of water sources or attached vegetation that can amplify dampness and shadow. Despite its strong personality, this orientation can be suitable for fresher rooms in the southern regions, kitchens, garages and dry utility areas, providing regular humidity control. As for west-facing facades, they receive the most sunlight during the afternoon and early evening, leading to heat buildup that lingers into the night. This can be a good feature in northern regions, but lead to overheat in the south. They are ideal for late-day outdoor use, laundry and drying areas, and spaces used primarily at night if well insulated. Check for external shading mechanisms, the possibility for cross-ventilation, particularly in top-floor apartments with full west exposure, and features like the Portuguese alpendre. We might be a tiny country, but we have a big thing called microclimate. It won't show on weather apps, but it will on your walls, wallet, and humidity levels. In valleys such as Douro or parts of the Oeste, never trust a local who says Silver Coast. Cold air tends to sink and settle after dark. If you are looking at a property in a lower level, visit at night and early morning. You will notice if it feels colder or damper, which can mean higher heating needs in winter. And let's not forget our beautiful islands. In Madeira, the mountain ridges split the island in two. North-facing properties get more rain and wind, while south-facing ones tend to be sunnier and calmer. Check for protected terraces or exposed balconies depending on the side you are on. In the Azores, Atlantic storms are frequent and strong. Look for reinforced windows and sheltered entrances. Properties without these adaptations may require upgrades, which add to expenses. And here's your best climate tool: the locals. So ask around because Sr. Manel knows more about the location than the listing ever will. The difference between a comfortable home and a miserable winter often hides inside your walls. That's why knowing when a property was built can give you valuable clues about the type of construction and what to check for. Portugal has a long and layered construction history spanning centuries, regions, techniques, and materials. Solid stone, rammed earth, and adobe were used across Portugal. Stone in the north, Açores, and Madeira, both in urban and rural areas, and earth mostly in the south, particularly in rural areas. These thick walls are often durable and breathable, but prone to moisture issues. The 1755 Lisbon earthquake led to a major innovation: an anti-seismic timber lattice system embedded within masonry walls. Inspired by shipbuilding, it is found mostly in downtown Lisbon. This system, known as gaiola pombalina, must never have its structural integrity compromised. Later on, handmade and industrial bricks replaced stone in urban construction. These walls were thinner, faster to build, but lacked insulation. From the 1950s to the 70s, construction evolved with the introduction of double-leaf cavity walls, meaning double-layer hollow brick walls with an air gap but still no insulation. Post-1970s buildings adopted concrete structures with non-load-bearing brick infill walls. They were faster and cheaper to build, but, you've guessed it, still lack standardized insulation. The most significant shift occurred in the late 90s with the introduction of the first thermal regulations. From this point on, new constructions were legally required to meet minimal thermal performance standards. However, they were very slowly introduced, and the minimums still varied in practice. This is very important and basically means that, as a general rule of thumb, you can assume that constructions pre-2005 or so without any intervention lack satisfactory insulation. Modern buildings include insulation in walls, roofs, and double-glazed windows. Energy certifications are now mandatory, but without verification it's still a gamble. Some builds are excellent and others barely pass. Now that you have an overall view, let's dive deeper into the two most common types of walls you will come across. Natural stone walls are the proud elders of Portuguese construction. You will find granite in Minho and northern cities like Braga, schist in Serra da Estrela and central mountain ranges, limestone in areas like Coimbra, Ribatejo, and coastal areas of north of Lisbon, and salt-resistant basalt in Açores and Madeira. You want to check if the wall feels damp or shows stains near the ground. This may indicate rising damp due to a lack of waterproofing membranes at ground level. Stone walls can either be exposed or have a white lime wash, particularly in the Alentejo region. This not only reflects sunlight, keeping interiors cool, but also creates an environment unfavorable for mold due to lime's alkaline composition. In lime-washed walls, check for uneven fading or peeling, which may expose our underlying stone to moisture. In exposed stone walls, a white powder called saltpeter typically indicates ongoing moisture issues. However, if the wall has a no lime wash, the saltpeter can be a natural reaction of the lime's chemical aging process, even without significant water infiltration. Inspect for cracks in stones or joints that allow water infiltration, and also look for loose or crumbly mortar. An easy trick if you have access to the property at night is to shine a flashlight from inside through thinner walls. If light passes through, it can indicate poor construction or deteriorated mortar. With specialized care, stone walls can last centuries, being a beautiful testimony of both time and craftsmanship. Always make sure to repoint mortar with breathable lime-based materials instead of cement-based mortars. Apply breathable water repellent treatments to protect against moisture, and ensure there are proper drainage systems around the property to prevent water pooling near the base. A cement slab at ground level without proper drainage systems can turn your walls into the next porous thing for water to infiltrate. As we saw from the mid-20th century onward, Portuguese constructions shift to faster, more cost-effective methods. Whether hollow, double-layered, or part of a concrete frame, these modern walls all share the same recurring issues: cold interior, stubborn dampness, and noise traveling through like they were made of Japanese paper. These walls aren't inherently bad, they just need a little bit more attention during your visit. Think of them as the middle child of Portuguese construction. Not too old, not too new, but often misunderstood. Look for chromatic alterations: dark green, black, or gray patches on exterior walls, especially in shaded areas, are red flags for trapped moisture and salt buildup. Inconsistent paint patches or mismatched mortar often hides past water damage or quick fixes that didn't solve the root problem. If you are looking into a house or a ground floor apartment, go Indiana Jones on the vegetation. Walls covered in ivy or dense vegetation can hide significant moisture issues and insulation. In coastal areas, look for flaky or crumbling concrete. Salt air corrodes reinforcement, causing chunks of concrete to push outward. And cracks at junction. The million-dollar question, which should be enough money for you to buy a studio apartment in Lisbon, it's how to differentiate minor cracks from structural ones. Simply put, superficial cracks are less than 3 mm wide, uniform in width, and often vertical or around windows or doors. They are the result of normal settling or temperature changes. Structural cracks are wider than 3 mm, variable in width, and often spread horizontally or diagonally, indicating serious issues in need of professional evaluation. A simple hack, especially if you're not used to the metric system, is to take a 5 coin with you and place it perpendicularly to the cracks. This coin is about 3 mm thick, so it will give you a quick answer right away. If the house or apartment has been extended, check the connection points for signs of poor workmanship or leaks. And if you are looking to buy, always verify whether alterations were legally licensed. And yes, depending on the municipality, this might include the infamous Portuguese marquise, the enclosed balconies that you see everywhere, particularly on north-facing facades because, and now you know it, they are too windy to enjoy a glass of wine outside. Modern walls usually benefit from repointing and resealing cracks where concrete and brick meet, always ensuring proper drainage, interior insulation strategies to improve comfort and soundproofing, and external insulation systems that can help improve energy efficiency, and yes, we will talk about that in a minute. And lastly, notice retaining and separation walls, not only yours but your neighbors. You want to be sharing Sunday lunches, not water issues and falling stones. There's a Portuguese saying that goes: quem vê caras não vê corações. Who sees faces doesn't see hearts. But now that we're becoming an expert on understanding what lies beneath the surface, let's take a look at what Portugal's pretty facades are all about. External thermal insulation composite systems. It's a big word, but it basically means improved energy efficiency. ETICS, known in Portugal as Capoto, is a multi-layered system that wraps insulation and protective finishes around the exterior walls, and it's still one of the most common solutions for modern facades, especially in concrete frame buildings. It works for new builds, but it's also ideal for retrofitting poorly insulated structures. So what does that mean? Let's say you have a house or apartment from the 1980s, which now you know it's a red flag for poor insulation. But if the property received Capoto, or if you are thinking of adding it, it can dramatically improve thermal comfort and reduce moisture issues. Depending on the finish and installation quality, ETICS facades can develop cracks, trapped moisture, or water infiltration. To ensure effectiveness, check the insulation material and thickness. Always ask for the technical sheet. Pro tip: using natural materials like cork or mineral wool may qualify for government financial aid under Portugal's climate program. If Capoto is the flashy cousin always off to some new adventure, Azulejos are the wise grandma reminding us to eat our vegetables and wear a cardigan outside. Seen across Portuguese towns and cities, this traditional material is a vivid storyteller of the country's culture, heritage, and collective identity, being extremely durable when properly maintained. You want to watch for: loose or hollow tiles might hide cracks or damp patches beneath them. Tap tiles gently. If they sound hollow, moisture or damage could lurk underneath. Cracked tiles or missing grout allow water to seep into the wall, worsening existing issues. Moss, algae, or lichen often thrive on tiles in shaded or damp areas. As a Portuguese, I can't mention Azulejos without referring the widespread theft of tiles from churches, palaces, and heritage sites to be sold illegally. Efforts like the SOS Azulejo project by the Judiciary Police have reduced thefts by 80%, but the damage is irreversible. When buying tiles, always demand proof of origin. Unverified tiles from flea markets, antique stores, or online platforms may fund theft. Instead, choose ethical reproductions. You'll be not only supporting amazing artists, but preserving tradition without compromising heritage. Now, about roofs. The goal of this video is to help you make informed and safe decisions. So I'm not going to tell you to climb up on roofs to check the tiles and enjoy the views. From a safe spot or using a drone, here's what you can check. Cracked or displaced terracotta tiles are common in older roofs, but they allow water in. In flat roofs, check for ponding water due to improper slopes, which leads to leaks. Uneven or sagging roof lines often result from rotted roof timbers or overloaded tiles. In severe cases, sagging can push out walls or collapse ceilings. Moss, algae, or lichen thrive in urban regions such as Porto. They trap moisture, accelerating rot and tile degradation. Rusted gutters clog easily, causing overflow that damage walls, foundations, and landscaping. Lastly, let's talk about something that I guarantee you doesn't come on any listing, but it's hiding on plain sight. The sometimes invisible, sometimes silent threats that can compromise your home, your peace, and your long-term well-being. Banned in Portugal since 2005, asbestos, or amianto, is still present in many buildings built between the 1960s to early 2000s, particularly if they haven't been renovated. They are common in roofing sheets, water tanks, insulation, floor tiles, and pipe coating. Asbestos is not dangerous if intact or undisturbed, but becomes hazardous when broken, drilled, or removed without proper handling. Removing asbestos is not your do-it-yourself Sunday project. Legal removal must be done by certified professionals. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas. You won't smell it, see it, or hear about it from the cellar. Common in granite-rich regions, especially northern and central Portugal, it enters through foundations and accumulates in basements or poorly ventilated ground floor spaces. The Portuguese Environment Agency provides a radon susceptibility map So if you are looking to move into a high-risk zone, testing is strongly advised. A picturesque hill near your property might be hiding a big secret. Factories, fuel storage facilities, highways and airports bring not just noise, but may expose homes to air pollutants. Sines, for example, is a classified industrial zone with high risk. Use your senses, Google Maps, air quality layers, and Portugal's environmental databases to check what's around. Wild and human-instigated fires are a recurring reality in Portugal, with thousands of forest hectares being destroyed every year, particularly in central Portugal. There are specific maintenance requirements for terrains, but avoid invasive species on your property and the proximity to dense forests with eucalyptus, acacias, and canes. These resinous invasive species are highly inflammable. Prioritize native trees such as cork and holm oaks, chestnut, and birch. These are nature's firefighters and can save your life and the environment. We've covered so much already, and we haven't even hinted your potential new home. Here's a visual recap of what you've learned to check today outside your Portuguese property. In part 2, we will go indoors and dive into your biggest concerns. Does it have mold? Is it warm enough? Will it last? And you will have access to the ultimate resource to help you inspect your Portuguese home like a real pro. Let me know in the comments if everything is making sense to you so far and what questions do you have. And if this video helped you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me grow and reach more people. Muitíssimo obrigada for being here with me today, and I'll see you very soon on part 2. Ciao, ciao!